I feel like what he was talking about on that stage that day, yes, we are living that dream right now. You know what I mean? It's not fully developed all the way. It will be one day. But yes, I do feel like it, but success isn't faithful.
Right.
You got to work hard at it every day. So one of the things I always say is you got to want it. So he had the dream, and everybody has dreams, but you got to want it. You got to want your dreams to come true, and you got to go after the pursuit of happiness and the pursuit of success.
On August 28th, 1963, civil rights leaders, they kicked off a march in Washington. It was called the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. Probably one of the most pinnacle moments of that whole civil rights movement of that day was all the speeches at the Lincoln Memorial. Probably one of the most famous speeches of that Lincoln Memorial was a speech given by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And it was probably one of the most famous speeches in our country, and maybe even in history anyway. And so we just want to take a few minutes today and just unpack some of the concepts. This podcast is going to be aired and broadcasted in celebration and in observance to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday celebration here in the U.S. And so we just want to welcome everybody to the Pursuit podcast. I am Kirk M. Samuels, and I'm part of the Pursuit team here. And so we just wanted to kick this off and have a nice just a good conversation, man, with a couple guys that I know and respect, and I called them up, and both of them immediately were right on board. These guys have the pulse in our community here in the Denver metro area, and very well connected, and I just really respect these guys. And so I just want to again welcome all of you here to the Pursuit podcast for just this discussion, unpacking the dream on the Pursuit podcast. And so we could probably spend a half hour just unpacking you two and just sharing who you are, at least, I mean, if not an hour. And so I just wanted to spend just a couple minutes just to set the stage on who you guys are. And so I'll start here with my guy. First of all, Rory Fisher, what do you do for a living?
I own a hair salon, but I'm a barber by trade. And I run a successful one in the Southlands area.
In eastern part of Metro Denver. So I got to ask you, man, who's your number one favorite client or customer that comes into your shop?
Kirk. Kirk comes in about 5:15.
One of the things that, culturally is, I mean, probably across the board, but, I've been black my whole life. So at least in the black community, the barber shop is kind of the hub of where it's kind of the intersection of a lot of lives in the community.
Oh my gosh, especially out in our area where you're not just getting just a black community,
right?
But you're getting all walks of life in there, giving their own spill, if you will, of life in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes it interesting. You know, it's a very unique situation. I had a particular white gentleman come in, and he shook my hand, and he said, "This is amazing to be able to come in here in this environment. Keep doing what you're doing, young man." In some places, you're not going to get that.
Right.
You're not going to get that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
So you get the intersection of not only, in your particular case, not only a lot of lives, not only just really in the black community, or what you get like a diverse cross section of people coming through.
I mean, from Mexicans, Asians, whites. We got a variety of clients. It's what the community is supposed to look like.
Yeah,
it definitely is.
That's awesome, man. That's good stuff. So you're a business owner. You're a tradesman by hand, gifted hands. You're blessed in the hands area.
Blessed.
I'll be seeing you in a couple days here. And you're a husband. You're a father. How many kids you got?
7.
7 kids. Man,
Seven.
You got a basketball team of 2 subs.
Well, I didn't miss that section in the Bible.
What are your kids' names?
Oh my gosh! Let me start. I'm not gonna mess it up. I'll start with Rory, Rihanna, Arshanae, Rael, Rory, and Riley.
Man, you better than me. I got 4, and man. So,
Yellow.
so man, yeah. So again, you have a lot of different perspectives, man. And like I said, I respect your business acumen, man. You've spoken into some teens that I was kind of working with at one point, and just as a friend, as a brother, as a professional, man, I appreciate you and respect you.
Yes, sir.
And then, and kind of in a roundabout way, I came across this other guy next to you, and then come to find out that you know him. How do you know him?
It's my family.
My cousin.
Man, I was like, man, okay. And then so I've gotten to know Lumumba Sayers over here, over the past couple years, and man, man, this guy right here, man, here's the next half hour. I mean, for real. Just in story. So first of all, what do you do professionally?
So, I own a moving company.
What's the name of it?
Sarah Citywide Movers. I own Sarah Citywide Deliveries. I own Sarah Citywide MMA and Fitness. And then I am the founder of the Heavy Hands, Heavy Hearts Foundation. And I got Sarah Citywide Vending Machine.
Man, I mean, you got your name all over the place, man. There's a whole lot of things to unpack in there. So again, I see another cross section of people and places and different perspectives and all those kinds of things in everything that you do. So yeah, you're a business owner. You're a family man as well. You're a professional. You actually got some history and some sanctioned fights. Some fight history too, right?
Yeah. So as of maybe a week ago, I was retired.
A week ago?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, coming out of retirement.
So I'm back a professional fighter now.
A professional fighter?
Yeah.
Man, what kind of fights?
Mixed martial arts. Well, I went undefeated as a boxer for 10 years, and then I crossed over to mixed martial arts.
Wow.
And I've been doing mixed martial arts for probably about 15 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So, probably about 15 years now. And my son actually just started fighting, Lumumba Sayers Jr. He just started fighting. So one of his dreams was to fight in the same cage as me on the same fight card.
Is that going to happen?
Yes. It's going to happen this year.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Huge.
Man, that's good stuff, man. And so when you talk about, and actually, so let me back up a second. You mentioned something really quick. Can you unpack the Heavy Hands, Heavy Hearts? Can you unpack what that whole vision is about?
So Heavy Hands, Heavy Hearts Foundation is about, we teach kids and adults basic instructions through mixed martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
We help them find self-love. We help them find jobs, start their own businesses. We have music therapy, dance therapy. We got just regular counseling and therapy, stuff like that. We have a safe space for the youth and adults to come just hang out and have fun. We got video games. We got computers. We got TVs to where they can just chill. We got a little library at the community center. And
man, that's, that I don't think you can get more impactful than that in terms of community, in terms of this generation and the next generation, man. So, big credit for all the work that you're doing in the community. And so at this point, we are probably one generation, I don't want to say removed from that, but one generation since that March on Washington. And so, when we think back a generation from then, where do y'all think we are just with the notion of equality in our culture?
To me, I think it's improved a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're heading in the right direction. We can't expect things to change overnight or even in this generation. But as long as we continue on with dreams, there probably was a time that as black men, me and mama, we wasn't able to have a business, period.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, there's more and more white brothers and sisters getting on board. The marches, some people say, well, the marches don't work. If it changed one person's mind, then the march worked. So with that being said, I think, in his dream, I think we're definitely heading in the right direction. But I have to say this about Martin Luther King, that he was my idol growing up. I can remember reading about him maybe in the 6th grade and watching how he captured the audience. I was like, I want to be like that guy. We had Muhammad Ali and everybody else and my uncles, but I'm like, I want to be great just like him. So striving and still striving to be like that every day of my life, teaching my kids, about racism. And, my son had dealt with something back in school at, maybe, I want to say in the 6th grade, where he said this little white girl didn't like him because of the color of his skin, and that bothered him because he didn't really understand, from that point of view, what that means, but we talked about that, man, and I just told him, man, next time you see her, just tell her God doesn't like ugly. You know what I'm saying? So the next day, he goes back to school, and the first thing he runs and finds the girl. I'm like, no, son, I didn't tell you to do that, man. He said, when you come across her. But even watching them play, when they're a certain age, you see whites, black, everybody's getting along. You don't start seeing racism until you get a lot older. But I think we're heading in the right direction. Yes, we do. I think we do.
I think yeah, we're heading in the right direction. We just have to reprogram the youth to think different, and that's kind of what we do, is try to get them to think about things different, because a lot of the way they think is from their parents. So if you constantly keep people in their same environment, they're not going to change, because they're going to be so used to seeing what, they're going to be used to seeing that same thing over and over. So I think we're heading in the right direction. We're getting things done a better way. We're being able to show everybody else something different about what's going on. But yeah, I think the more we're able to reach more people and have them understand that there's a different way of life, that there's a different way of living. Like, you don't have to live in a trashy apartment. You don't have to have your house dirty. You don't have to settle for less. So
now I'm looking at a couple guys. Both of you guys are business owners, and what is it like being business owners and being, black men that are business owners, in our, especially in our economy these days, or especially over the past, year and a half, 2 years, which from the fulfillment of that dream back to him, like if you had to speak back into time, 40, 50 years, whatever it's been, I mean, speak back to that generation that marched for you to be able to have what you have today.
As I think about it, man, it's really hard work, faith, and belief. That that nothing, if you have the mindset, because everything comes from thought, cannot kill that dream. You're gonna have obstacles. Especially me coming from the east side, born on Humboldt. Our backyard was dirt, with teeter-totters and everything. But my mother and father did well enough to move us to Park Hill. But then there were some challenges there as well. But both places, was filled with nothing but family. Now, because of gentrification, things have changed. But I just kept going and growing from the poverty, the government assistance, and I knew I didn't want that. I knew what it meant to go some nights without food, or eat certain sandwiches, or lights and stuff be shut off. I've lived that. Wash machine. We didn't have no wash machine. Our clothes was done in the tub, or on a clothesline, or hung on the doors. And I didn't want that for myself, So just believe, trust in not being in that situation, but getting myself to a situation that I can also now help my mother and father, you know, and thank them for raising 11 kids, because that's not easy, but not giving up as well. And seizing a big opportunity. Opportunity is something, and it's what else can you do with that too? So, just from that space.
Lumumba, do you feel like you're the personification of that dream that he was talking about on the steps?
I do. I feel like the stage that my father set forth for me, you know what I mean, as far as like, because my dad actually helped start the Martin Luther King marches here in Colorado. So, and he helped start the Denver Housing Authority here in Denver, Colorado. But just following that platform that my dad always wanted for himself, like he planted a seed to where he wanted to have all these things happen for him. Well, they didn't happen for him, but they all happened through his kids, through my brothers and sisters. Like everything that my dad wanted to pursue, it actually came to fruition through me and my brothers and sisters. So I feel like what he was talking about on that stage that day, yes, we are living that dream right now. You know what I mean? It's not fully developed all the way. It will be one day. But yes, I do feel like it, but success isn't faithful.
Right.
You got to work hard at it every day. So one of the things I always say is you got to want it. So he had the dream, and everybody has dreams, but you got to want it. You got to want your dreams to come true, and you got to go after the pursuit of happiness and the pursuit of success. So, yeah, you just, you know, I think it's coming true through us right now.
Is it easy?
No. Stressful.
No.
Some
That ain't
days-
easy?
No.
I thought it was easy.
You still got to wake up every day and still work as hard.
Huh.
Yes, sir.
I get up every day at 4:30 in the morning. I'm out the door by 5:30 to my trucks by 6, at my moves by 7. Sometimes the guys that work at the moving company don't show up. Sometimes I got to call my guys that work on the delivery company. Man, where you at? Y'all ain't at the warehouse yet? So you got to stay on it. You cannot slack up at all, because just one wrong move, everything will fall apart. If you don't have everything in place like you're supposed to, your whole situation can change. So yeah, it's not easy. It's stressful. Long nights. You know what I mean? Early mornings, long nights. Tired. Like for the last 2 days, I've probably put in like I want to say 18 hours working, doing moves in the last 2 days. But it's fruitful for me. You know what I mean? And it's fruitful for the guys that come work for me. So,
Do y'all ever want to quit?
No, never.
You never want to quit?
Never.
That was not the answer I was
Never.
expecting, man.
to quit is the curve.
Yeah.
And excuses don't count.
At all.
Wow.
At all.
No quit, huh?
Not in me.
You just get up and grind.
Keep going. Keep going.
What I noticed about us is we got a different type of drive.
Who is us?
Me and Rory.
Okay.
Yes.
Like it's a couple other people too. Like I've instilled that into my son, and he's instilling it into his kids too. But to get up day after day, tired, beat up, sore, and keep fighting.
Keep fighting.
You know what I mean? Just fight every day. Like everything that I do, I relate it to fighting. And I'll never give up. Like in a fight, hey, you got to get me. You got to take me out. You know what I mean? And it's the same with everything I go after. You know, with God as the leader in my life, there's nothing that I can't accomplish. The word impossible, if you break it down, it means I'm possible. So,
Man, I you know, especially as men just in general, but as black men in this world and as black men in this culture, I mean, I feel like we have as much challenges as we do opportunities. And so, you know, with those opportunities come the challenges, and you can't probably, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, what you think, but you maybe can't fully experience all your opportunities unless you're open to all the challenges that come with all with those opportunities, 100%, right?
100%.
Yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts on just the space that you hold in community. You have a professional community, you have a family community, you have a community, and both of you are parts of all of those. And so that pressure that you hold, I mean, what is that like to walk in that space?
It's huge. It's huge because one thing about it, you don't want to fail in doing so. A lot of people are looking at you, looking up to you to continue on being successful. So it adds a lot of pressure.
Yeah. And you got like a community center. I mean, so you got like, kids, and any of your kids showing up, calling you dad and calling you pops and calling you uncle, calling you all these kinds of things. And so you got like an extended tribe or extended family in terms of your passion and the things that you were called to do in this world.
Yeah. So for me, only time I feel pressure is when people don't show up for work and stuff with the move and stuff. But actually, I look at things a little different. Like, I stay focused on Jesus. Like, I feel like God is driving the car, and I'm just riding in the passenger seat. And sometimes He's like, take the wheel. You know what I mean? But when things get too rough for me, I'm like, man, God, please take the wheel. Like, God, handle this. And everything always works out. See, for me, I don't take on all the responsibility as it's my own. I take it on as I'm working for God, and God is allowing me to be in this position, and I gotta represent Him in the right way, and I gotta be able to be a true representative of God. So one of the things I tell the kids and the adults that come around me is say, follow me, watch, just come ride with me. Don't follow me, follow Jesus, but come walk with me and see how I live. Just see if everything I'm telling you is exactly how I live. I want you to come see firsthand everything that I do. You can come chill with me. You can see if I'm a different person than what I'm telling you are. Just come look, come watch for yourself. You'll find out exactly who I am if you just hang out with me. I want y'all to come hang out with me. I want y'all to see that maybe the recipe that I figured out to life to become successful. Maybe y'all can take some of them exact same things that I'm doing and add it to your own business and become successful. This is how I run my business. This is what I do in my everyday life. This is how I deal with people. This is what I do. And I tell them, like, look, don't do as I say. Just come follow me. You know what I mean? And if you like what I'm doing or you see what I'm doing, I'm going to give you the recipe to what I do so you can do it and become successful as like me. So I don't take a lot of pressure to it, just like, hey, this is what God put me here for. You know what I mean? So when they don't show up to work and stuff like that, that's where the pressure comes in. But I always got a backup plan. And God always provides a way out of every situation that I get into.
Wow, okay. So let's go back to that speech. Let's go back to that dream for equality across the board, and let's kind of step outside of the culture, outside of Western culture, outside of the American culture, and look back at the American culture and where could our society improve on living up to or contributing to or meeting that dream that he talked about on those steps? Like, where are we falling short as a country?
I think one of the things that we're falling short on is we're in competition with each other. Like, we got to get out of being in competition with each other. Like, man, who cares who has the fanciest car or who has the best clothes or any of that stuff? Like, if you see somebody fall down, don't laugh at them, pick them up. And we've been through this mentality for so long to where we have to be the big man on the totem pole. You know what I mean? And, like, we falling short because we're in competition with each other. We hating on each other when we see somebody else become successful. And instead of being like, hey, man, how did you do that? Or some of us become successful and we don't want to share those secrets because we just want to be the ones that are successful and be above everybody else. And I think we fall short when we don't give everybody else that same opportunity to hear what's in our brains and that knowledge so they can probably grab onto it. The ones who really want to change and do things, that they can grab onto that. And then maybe once this one person grabs on to what we learn, then somebody in his circle will grab on, and then it'll start a ripple effect. And then
bring them up.
Yeah. You know, so that's, you know, if we see somebody fall down, and, you know, I'm not saying hold their hand all the way through, but let them know, like, hey, look, man, we got you, you know, and we don't do that. We in competition with each other. We hate on each other, and to a point to sometimes, man, we want to kill each other or, you know, sabotage, hate on each other's businesses and stuff like that. Like, we got to stop hating on each other. We got to start picking each other up when we see each other falling down.
Where do you think we falling short?
I think educationally. I think educationally and financially. You know, teaching the youth, you know, as far as credit is concerned. And I think once you get to a certain level financially, then you're not looked at any different. You know, if you're poor, then you're looked at like you're poor. So I think that's where we're really falling short educationally. You know.
So if we were to speak to, you know, Dr. King was a man of faith. I mean, he was a preacher, he's a pastor. You know, he was speaking generally to a culture, to a society, but he did it from a pulpit, right? I mean, that was kind of his base, his launching ground. So, so a lot of who he was talking to and who he was working with, kind of a lot of the catalyst for the change, he used people of clergy, and you know, again, that was kind of his, you know, his MO. Where could people of faith step in and kind of address those things that were falling short, those areas that were falling short in our culture? Where could people of faith step in and somehow impact that for good?
I think it's happening now. You know, with my cousin's center, I've watched him feed many homeless people. You know, and educate them there. So I think that's actually happening now. With, when you say faith, is it a pastor, a imam? You know, what do you mean in those terms?
Yeah, just, I mean, all across the board. Yeah, everybody. I mean, everyone who calls themselves to a higher, who lives to a higher calling in the area or through the vehicle, I guess you could say, of the.
Oh man, it's happening in droves. It's happening in droves, and like I said, it's heading in the right direction. Yeah, I think it's happening.
I think one thing that the clergy and pastors and people in those positions that hold themselves to a higher standard, I think one thing they need to stop doing is being judgmental and understand that one time and point before you got to where you at in your faith in God is you were down there too. You know what I mean? You were at that same point in life. And just because you study the Bible and you're in a different position now and you're in a leadership role does not mean that you're better than anybody. So I think that sometimes when people get into these positions of being pastors and deacons and like people in the clergy area, they forget where they came from, and then they don't go back to the community.
I think that's, in general, I think that's part of the problem.
I think they need to go back into the community, go back into where the war zone is, because somebody came and pulled you out of there. So now you got to go back in there and pull somebody out. You know what I mean? So I think pastors, I mean, you know, they got nice suits, they got nice clothes, but go back and talk to these kids. You know what I mean? Go back and see these kids. Jesus, who was actually God in the flesh, was with all the people who were sinners. You know what I mean? He didn't sit up in a pulpit. You know, he talked to everybody. You know, he wasn't afraid to be down in the crowd. You know, he went out to the people. He went and talked to the people. He was with the people. And I think that's what they need to do. Instead of just sitting in this building, go have church outside somewhere. Go talk to these people. Go talk to these kids. Go give these kids a hug. Because a lot of churches preach love, but these kids don't see love when they see these preachers and these pastors and these people who are spreading this word. Like I can't go talk to him. He's holier than thou. He's better than me. He's not going to talk to me. He's not going to give me a hug. For everybody that's listening, I just really want everybody to think about, I know we all have these businesses and the bills have to be paid, but what about the lives that can be changed? I feel like if you do what you're supposed to be doing, your blessing will come to you. You know what I mean? Like, people will see what you're doing, and then they'll start pouring into everything that you do. Especially if you're really out here doing the work, if you're really out here helping these kids. And, you know, I think, that'd be a great idea for the churches to partner with somebody that's already been doing it. And, you know, maybe there could be more lives saved. Maybe the church can identify more of the children through their parents that go to these churches who have these certain problems, you know? So I agree with you.
And then you partner, you know, again, I'm still thinking out the box, you know, and then when you have churches that seek to do those kinds of things, to partner with organizations or maybe people that are already doing things in the community, and then you add into that businesses that are also looking at the same thing, like, I want to make an impact. You know, that's kind of one of the I see one of the trends in businesses is wanting to be there's a word for it that's escaping my mind right now, but basically wanting to have a social impact as well as a business impact, right? And so to have people partner with people that are already doing these things in the community, but those are all good.
And we have a lot organizations in the community, but in some way you have to bridge that gap. You know, you got this.
Maybe I'm just
so much dissension. It's like, I got this.
Maybe I have no clue what all of the obstacles would be to make.
And they're all doing good in their own way.
Yeah.
But what if we can get that together?
Competing kind of agendas and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's just like, so my partner Shalonda Palmer from Stargirls, we don't have a power struggle about who's in charge or who's the lead or whatever. You know, when I go out, I represent Stargirls. I represent Heavy Hands, Heavy Hearts. We don't have that power struggle or who's in charge of what or any of that stuff. Like, we're here to make an impact. Like, if she has an event and she needs help, I do everything I can to help Stargirls move to past this event, because it's going to impact these kids' lives. I've watched it. Like, we had a camp this summer and we took 42 kids up to Estes Park. Man, and you're talking about some of the stories that these kids tell. You know, I'm a tough guy. I had to choke up and like, get out of here. You know what I mean? Like, for a split second. And just, we got to stop having these power struggles. And then we got to, if you're going to partner, don't expect one person to do all the work. You know what I mean? Don't come and partner because you want credit for what you're doing, or you want to be able to say, hey, we're doing this. You know, really come in and put in that work. You know, we really got to come and put in that work and just like be here to make a difference, to make a change. One of the things, back to the beginning when you was introducing Rory, one of the things that he forgot to tell you is that he's a mentor too. And like, we both had one of the same students, and we lost this student last summer, was it? Just wrong place, wrong time. He went to a celebration and lost his life. And this kid was with Rory a lot. Then he'd leave Rory,
and one of my sons,
and be with me at the community center. You know, and just man, they took his life from him, like one shot. And I actually watched, like, I pulled up to this event right after the shooting, and I watched this kid fighting for his life, and he passed. You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy. But I was just throwing that in. Mentor and actually a counselor too, because while he's in that barber chair.
Oh man, that's therapy right there, man. That's therapy right there, man.
Not just a barber.
But it's like, we just got to keep coming together and be the change that we want to see. Show everybody else that we can forge these partnerships and work together to get things done.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people don't like to partner. They want to do it on their own.
Yeah.
But when they see other people partnering and becoming successful together, then they'll be able to tag along and decide to put that work in with us.
Because the flip side of all that is also not being concerned with who gets the credit for whatever.
Right.
I mean,
That's
there's
what it
putting
is,
in
who
work
gets
and
credit for it.
and because that's where you get the competing agendas of whose name gets to be on what and who gets to do the interview and channel whatever shows up, and all those kinds of things, and that can keep people from the collaboration or the partnership. And honestly, and I said it before we even started recording this. It's one of the things I love about the Pursuit guys. The Pursuit team anyway, is just the collaboration effort and just the opening up of the platform and not so concerned. And before we started, John's flat out like, "This is not ours." It's that kind of mentality where we're able to just come together and share. Because ideally, when the tide comes in, all boats rise, right? And when the community gets better, we all get better.
Right.
And so I mean, I think maybe that's probably one of the challenges too to everything that I'm I guess my little dream here today of just all this collaboration effort is okay, when do we put our egos aside and say, I don't need to have my name on it. I don't need to be known or whatever or to get any kind of credit, but to be able to contribute, should just be enough.
Yes.
But those are just the challenges that we have. But so to circle back, and as we I like to say, as we line up on a runway and bring this plane in for a landing, in honoring Dr. King, if you had 60 to 120 seconds, if he walked in the room right now, and you were able to say something to Dr. King right now, what would you say to him?
Man, thanks for being the one or the chosen one, right? Because you have to be chosen to be able to even handle that kind of pressure, that kind of, everything that he went through, dealing with, so much adversity. I was watching a documentary, he became so powerful that the FBI had, bugged his hotels wherever he went. He had to sacrifice a lot, his wife, his kids, go to jail. But I would thank him for putting his life, many times at risk. So I'm able to live where I live, own a business, stand on strong shoulders, give me some hope and belief, and I would just definitely like to thank him for that. Yeah.
I'll tell him thank you for being that child of God, that man of God that stepped up and was obedient to what God told you to do. I would just thank everybody who was right there with him. Tell them thank you for the hard work and the dedication and the time that you guys put in and the blood, sweat, and tears in order to become who we are today. Right now, it was a long road, but I would thank Dr. Martin Luther King. I would thank my father for using him as an example of how things are done. I'd be grateful. You know what I mean? Tell him I thank God for him and what he did.
Awesome. One of the most impactful men in my life once told me, he says, sometimes you plant the seeds, sometimes you water the crops, and sometimes you harvest. You harvest the crops. And he said, sometimes you plant, sometimes you water, sometimes you harvest. And I think, that generation before us that planted a whole lot of seeds, in our culture to help level the playing field, whether it be, putting up with the dogs and the water hoses and the prisons and the jails and all that kind of stuff, just to say, no, I am a man. I want to vote. I want to have, equality with the person, that could be next to me at any given place. I think a lot of those people planted the seeds, and I'm definitely thankful for all of them and everything that they went through, so that I could have everything that I have, and and all the people that watered, that watered the fields once those seeds were planted, the people that broke ground, and as we start to see people like John Lewis, all those civil rights leaders starting to pass away, after that speech, after that march, there was still a whole lot of work to do. There was decades of work to do, even to get us to where we are now. We still have a long way to go, but there are a lot of people that watered those fields, and I look at you two as men that are part of watering the field, but also part of harvesting some of that crop. And again, there's still a whole lot of work to do. There's a whole lot of work to do. There's many loads to lift. And many are called, but the chosen are few. And you two, I feel like, have been chosen to do some of that work, some of that hard work in the community. And so I just like I would thank him, I thank you too for all of the things that you do, and all the things that the impact that you have. I mean, I think you all are making the world a better place for us here today, and then for the next generation as well. And and even guys, again, like the rest of the Pursuit team, these guys are putting their time, their effort, their resources. They don't have to do this. They're successful guys outside of this, but they're making a way for these tough conversations to be had, and all those kinds of things. So I want to thank God, thank Dr. King, thank the Pursuit guys, and for sure thank you guys for being here. But before we're done, I want to give an opportunity for people to find out how they can get a hold of you if they want to get a hold of you. I mean, if somebody need a tight fade, they can't do it this Friday at 5:30 because I'm gonna be there in the chair. But, if somebody want to get a hold of you, man, how do they get a hold of you?
They can reach me at 303-928-7602. That's his and hers, located in the Southlands.
And is that Aurora?
Aurora.
Aurora?
Yeah. Southeast Aurora,
Colorado.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you, I've been there a long time, and, man, you take care of a brother, man. I was talking with somebody about, how much women pay to get their hair cut, and I was like, man, you pay $200-$300 what? Every 6 months. And then I started doing the math, and I was like, man, I'm up in that bad boy a lot. So man, I'm what they say, I'm a client, basically. I mean, I'm there. So I mean, I appreciate you, like I said, as a brother and as a friend, and all those kinds of things.
You as well.
His and hers is doing their thing, man, and everything. So how definitely how people get a hold of Lumumba and everything that you doing, man. You got like a whole list of Lumumba City this and City that, and run it all down, man. How can everybody get in touch with all of that?
So you can reach me at SarahCityWideMovers.com. That telephone number is 303-720-6019. Give me a call. I'll come out and get you a free on-site estimate to book you on the schedule for a move. You can reach me at heavyheartsheavyhands@gmail.com. That's my email, and that telephone number to the Heavy Hands Heavy Heart Center is 720-505-3813, located at 2360 Dayton Street. And just give me a call at either one of those numbers. This 303-720-6019. That's Sarah City Wide Movers, and 720-505-3813 is Heavy Hands Heavy Hearts Foundation.
Man, these guys is on it. And both of y'all are on social media. Both of y'all are on Facebook for sure. Instagram. So easy to get a hold of. Easy to get it.
Sayers or the Heavy Hands Heavy Hearts Center. And
man, I love your videos. You and your working the guys out in the gym, and the fights that you air, your son and all that kind of stuff, man. I'm definitely a fan of all that, man. You got good content out there, good tribe, and all those kinds of things. And Rory be posting pictures of the haircuts he be giving, man.
Sir.
He hasn't posted one of my pictures yet, so I don't know, man. I haven't gotten the picture yet or Rory's timeline of my haircut. Well, maybe it's because it's dark outside when I get my haircut. I don't get good lighting.
One of these things that you did where I met you, that was amazing to see them young men come over that hill and do that rites of passage, man. That was amazing, and I just seen how impactful that rites of passage thing you did was for them kids. So, man, thank you for pouring into them kids, too, because we both had the same student as well, too. So.
Yeah. That was good stuff, man. Good time. So, and again, thank the guys for the pursuit. Thank all of you for listening, for watching, whatever platform you're watching this on, YouTube, social media, like, subscribe, hit the bell, all those kinds of things that you hear all over the place. And stay in touch with the pursuit. Stay in touch with these guys. And again, I'm Kirk M. Samuels, and I'm here for all of you. So until next time, we will talk to you all later.